Hey everybody, I'm Derek. Welcome back to the channel. This is my Century FC-90 welder. It's gone from my primary welder when I purchased it about 4 years ago. It was a little less than that, but we'll call it 4 years. To dedicated flux core welder, so I didn't use it when I was going to be MIG welding. But if I was going to be flux core welding, I just went ahead and grabbed this, so I didn't have to change wire out or anything. To then it was just my portable welder when I'd go out and weld on my fence out at my property. And now I'm just ready to part with it. I'm ready to sell it because I have much better, more capable, powerful, all around better machines. So is that to say that this is a bad machine? Absolutely not. I'm wanting to sell it simply from a standpoint of wanting to create room and just getting rid of stuff that I have redundancies of. I just don't need to keep these older machines around, and I wanted to give it one last final review, my last final thoughts on this machine, because it's been a staple here in my shop. So it is kind of a sentimental machine to me, but basically I've got other machines that just work better and I gotta let it go. So we'll just start out here with the leads of this machine. What we have here is a very plain Jane basic wire feed welding electrode. Nothing wrong with it. It works fine. It's held up over the years, hasn't broken. Obviously, I'm just a DIY welder. I don't weld professionally by any means. This is all just for fun and to maintain and fix and repair my own things. So basically, nothing special about it, but nothing wrong with it either. I'd say the whole thing's probably about 5 or 6 feet long. I don't remember anymore, and I'm not going to look up the specs. If that matters to you, I'll let you go ahead and look it up. I can't say as much for the ground clamp. I think I even covered this in my very first review. Go ahead and cut that ground clamp off and change out your ground clamp to something better. The spring on that ground fell apart really quick and it wore out. I get a lot better ground with this ground clamp than I did with the stock one. It's also about 6 feet long. I do wish the leads were a little bit longer, but hey, it is what it is. Most of these machines aren't coming with super long leads. And if you're just doing a little bit of welding inside your garage or right outside your garage or right off the generator or whatever, you're going to be all right. It is, of course, a 110 volt machine. The power cord's probably right around there, about 6 feet as well. So you can probably get, about a 12-foot distance away from the wall where it's plugged in. I definitely would recommend running this on a 20 amp circuit if it's available in your house. It's definitely going to serve you better. And for all the people out there that talk crap about 110 volt welders, there's something to it, but for a lot of us guys that, we don't even have access to 220 volts. I've been working with a lot of welders out of this shop, and I'm still running them off a short extension cord run. So I don't have 220 volts available to me, and I've gotten plenty of full penetration welds on 1/8 inch and thinner material. Most of the material that I weld is 1/8 of an inch or less. Once in a while I might do something that's like 3/16 or 1/4 inch. Unless you're wanting to really fabricate some really big impressive things, a simple little fabrication and repairs is probably going to do just fine. So zooming in here to the front of the machine, you do have a strap that comes with the machine that I have never used. I pretty much got rid of it when I opened it up. It runs from here to the back of the machine. It's just like a simple nylon, I think it's nylon strap, something real basic. If you need to carry it around off your shoulder, I suppose that's a nice feature. Here at the top, you do have your infinity dial for your voltage control. And this is a fully controllable knob. It's not like some of the cheap machines where you'll click it at 1 and then it clicks and rolls into 2. If you get good enough with welding with this machine, you can definitely make the fine adjustments. So my first complaint is that the numbers could be a whole lot bigger on this machine than they are. They're hard to read. I have to squint. I have to get in real close to be able to read where I'm setting these at. And then the exact same thing with the wire feed speed selector switch here. It is an infinity dial as well. So that is a nicer feature over some of the other flux core machines. A lot of your cheaper flux core machines are just going to have a couple of taps, a couple of switches that you change, so you're getting basically 4 heat selections, and then maybe a knob, an infinity dial to change your wire feed speed. So that's the cheaper ones. This definitely has a couple a little bit nicer features, a little more adjustability, a little more controllability over your welds. Something worth mentioning is that this machine has seen quite a few falls, bumps, scrapes, and it's still kicking. This machine has fallen off this workbench a couple of times, rolled around in the back of the truck. Yeah, rolled around is probably an exaggeration, but It's definitely taken some bumps and some beatings over the last 4 years. You can see some of the metal is deformed here. Some of the paint scratched off. It's really very similar to the titanium Flux 125, I think they call it. There's a few machines that are have pretty much this exact same setup, same format kind of. Anyway, so the wire I've been running with this, I've run Forney wire, I've run Blue Demon most recently, a little bit of the Lincoln inner shield, a little bit of Vulcan through it. Everything's ran through it okay, I would have to say. I feel like that the Blue Demon runs through a lot better than like the Forney stuff and the Vulcan stuff, and then obviously the Lincoln inner shield stuff probably welds better than the Blue Demon. I say obviously, a lot of people think that it's better, and maybe it is, I don't know, but I think this Blue Demon stuff is half the price with 90% at least of the performance from the Lincoln inner shield. So that's what I run, and when I run Flux Core from here on out, that's what I'm going to keep running. Wire drive mechanism is plastic. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing some cast aluminum and stamped sheet metal in there instead of plastic, but honestly, it's held up fine for a cheap machine. Probably doesn't matter a whole lot. It's not broken on me yet, and I've ran, I don't know, I would guess over the lifetime of this machine, I've ran anywhere from 15 to 25 2-pound spools through it. A couple of 1-pounders in there with the Lincoln inner shield. So plenty of wire has been run through this machine, and the wire drive mechanism still kicking and doing fine. Here on the inside of the lid, there is a chart that I'm not going to show you, but it is there. So it gives you, as a beginner, some settings to kind of work with and figure out, and just some baselines when you get started so that you can give yourself the best chance you got. Over here in the back, we of course have our power switch and our power cord, and then also just beneath the power cord that you can't see quite in shot is the fan, and it runs 100% of the time. If the machine's on, the fan runs. So let's talk duty cycle on this machine. I've never hit the duty cycle. I don't remember what the specs are off the top of my head. For those that don't know, duty cycle is basically how long the machine can run at a certain power setting within 10 minutes. I probably didn't mention it. This is a DC inverter machine, so your DC inverter flux core welders are going to lay nicer beads. They also, I believe, have a little bit better duty cycles. They're also lighter weight compared to an AC machine that basically has a 40-pound transformer in it or whatever, however heavy it is. It's much heavier than these DC inverter machines. So there's a lot of advantages to having a DC inverter flux core welder. So if you're comparing this to, let's say, some of the other machines out there that are offered that are flux core only machines, it's pretty much going to be better than just about most of your AC powered flux core only welder. We're talking less than $200, your $125 Amazon specials, things like that. This machine is definitely going to be worth picking up over those. That being said though, let's talk a little bit about what I would pick up. So at this point, if I could go back and like buy my very first welder all over again, for me myself, hindsight's 2020, and I would have just gone ahead and picked up a multi-process machine. I probably would have picked up the Forney EasyWeld 140 MP, but let's just compare it to other DC inverter flux core welders. So I've already mentioned a couple, the titanium EasyFlux 125. That occasionally, at this point in time, goes on sale for like 160, 170 bucks. I actually did buy one, and I think I had really bad luck with it, but I'm not gonna knock on it. I know a lot of people have had good luck with them. I know a lot of people didn't like that video. They thought I didn't give the machine a fair shake. I think the thing was a dud out of the box. I gave it every chance I can. I wanted to like it, and I think that it has the potential to be a better machine than this. Assuming it works out of the box, it probably is a slightly better machine at a much lower cost. Another one I mentioned is the Welder Flux 135. It's about the same size package. It puts out more power, and it has that synergetic control to help you lay a little bit nicer beads because it controls your wire feed speed within inside the machine. I get, like I said, much better bead profiles. There are a couple things I like about the Century over that machine. That machine runs quite a bit less than the Century FC-90 as well. I'd probably pick that machine up over the Century FC-90. One thing that this machine just doesn't have going for it is a good price point. There's other machines that are just as good or better than it that are less expensive. If you can pick this thing up on sale for $180, $170, probably not a bad buy. Still, if it was 180 bucks, I'm still probably going to buy the titanium and the Welder Flux 135 over this machine. So let's talk about the machine that I think is probably the best flux core only welder. When I keep saying that, I mean it will run no other process. It will not run MIG because there's no gas inlet system for it with a gas solenoid to release the gas when you pull the trigger. These are machines that can only run flux core that I'm talking about. The machine that I think that if I was going to go back and pick up a flux core only machine that I would definitely consider every bit as much as this machine, from what I know, I would pick it up over it. I've never used the machine, but I've used its bigger brother, I guess. That's the multi-process machine. That's basically the exact same shell. Probably shares some electronic components, minus a few things. Anyway, these 40 Easy Weld machines are great. The reason why that machine is better is because it gives you the ability to hold 10-pound spools. You can spend $30, get a 10-pound spool, compared to your $15 2-pound spools. You're basically getting 5 times the wire for only maybe 2.5 times the cost, probably at the most. So not only is there savings in your wire, it also has a metal wire drive mechanism. Now, I mentioned in this, there's nothing wrong with the plastic one. It's been just fine. True. But for just, I don't know, 50 more bucks, maybe even like $30 more. I don't know what that thing costs anymore these days. That machine, I think, in a lot of ways is going to blow this machine out of the water. I think the 40 welds a little bit nicer. It comes with a better ground clamp and I think a little bit longer leads. I could be mistaken about that. But at this point in time, if I was going to just buy a flux core welder and go back and do it all over again, that's the one that I would probably pick up depending on what prices and everything looks like at that point in time. So if you're set on our little red, white, and black friend here and you just really want to go with the Century, I recommend it. I think it's been a good machine. Like I said, I've been running with this thing for almost 4 years now. A little bit shy of 4 years, but it's been a good machine over the years. I'm not saying it's the best machine. I'm not saying it's the highest quality machine out there, but for me, it's been a good machine and I think it'd serve you just fine. So consider the other options out there, but if you really like the color or whatever, there's some reason why you really want to go with it. Maybe that it's Century is owned by Lincoln or something like that. Maybe that's your reasoning. I don't know. More or less, I think it's a decent machine. Go ahead and pick it up. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. Helps the channel out, helps out with the YouTube algorithms. And then also, hit the subscribe button. I know I'm not going to be doing any more work with this machine if that's what you're into, but I definitely am going to keep on doing welding videos. Some very basic instructional videos because I'm still very much in the beginner stage of welding. I don't weld enough and consistently enough to stay very good at welding and to be a great welder. It's more than anything just a hobby and just kind of a way to maintain and repair my things and build things and just do what I need to do with it. I definitely don't do customer work or anything like that. So there's definitely some content for you on this channel. So again, subscribe if that's stuff you're interested in. I hope to see you in my next video.